Next comic, Mr. Deadair Dennis, everybody!
Hello! How are we? Doing great? Wonderful, grand, fantastic. Let me tell you guys about myself. I am a volunteer book reader for Boston Public Schools. Every week? Oh, I know, thank you. Yeah, compete with that rugby muscles. That awesome? Every week I go to Boston Public Schools and I read books to second graders because I'm a goddamn hero. First week I was there, all the kids came rushing up to the Storytime area and they sat down very nice, very neat, very organized. And I looked at the teacher and I'm like, oh wow, they are so well behaved. And she goes, oh, that's because they have assigned seats. I'm like, assigned seats for Storytime? Fascism. And then 5 minutes later, when they wouldn't shut up and pay attention, I'm like, these fuckers need rules, they need discipline, I get it. I read to 2 different classes every week, same classes every week. One of my classes is all Chinese, and I mean that as they are Chinese. It's not a catch-all for all Asians. They are 100% Chinese, first-generation Chinese Americans. Their parents immigrated here. It's essentially an ESL class for second graders, and they're all Chinese. And I know specifically Chinese because the teacher told me that, and she is some kind of Asian. She did not specify. I'm not going to make an assumption. And then I have a whole second class that's just regular kids. Anyway. No, I am always worried about with my Chinese class ever saying something accidentally racist to them, like just like well-meaning, but say something just completely wrong, like something like that. But one day I was reading a story to the kids, and or I was reading a story to the kids about like diversity. So I said, kids, for this story, instead of sitting in your assigned seats, I want you all to get up, find your best friend in the class, and then sit next to them while I read the story. I read the story, and then afterwards I closed the book, and I was like, all right, kids, now what I want you to do is look at each other. Look each other right in the face, and know that you all look different. That's my biggest fear. Like, the teacher gave me a dirty look, and I'm like, I didn't mean it like that. And then the next week, one of the kids looked at me and went, come on, Mr. Dennis, at least we're not one of those dog-eating goofs. And I'm like, who taught you that word? Who disciplined you? Is it her? Is it me? Like, do you understand? I got out-racist by a 7-year-old. And I look like a racist. Like, I could be mistaken for a background actor from American History X. So I don't have that fear anymore. But they're good kids. I got to read Hercules to the kids, which is one of my favorite stories. Hercules is a story that I enjoy, and quickly found out Hercules is not a good story for second graders. Reason being is first off, the book is written in like the first person, which is very confusing for 7-year-olds because they think I stole Hercules' diary. Secondly, the first page of the book is basically, so my dad Zeus raped my mom, and then his wife Hera sent 2 snakes to kill me in my crib, and I killed them instead. Yeah, I'm not giving up on this story because this is not like the only thing less appropriate at this point is Mr. Lincoln Goes to the Theater. So I'm not giving up on this book. I'm gonna change words on the fly. I'm gonna get through it, right? So I just changed some of the words. I changed the word kill to vanquish. And since I'm the only person who's played Dungeons and Dragons from age 13 till yesterday, I'm the only person in the room that knows what vanquish means. And when the kids stand through, goes, Mr. Dennis, what does vanquish mean? I'm like, it means to defeat. You mean like these feet? Put your shoes back on, Kyle. Kyle is Kyle's the bane of my existence in these classes. Like, all right, we all know what this Kyle kid is. Basically, we all had Kyle, not by name, but by attitude in our classes. Like, Kyle is the rambunctious kid who always has something to say. Who always, knows somebody who did something. Like, he's always that guy. Like, he's the kid that can never settle down, right? And if you can think of who your Kyle was, that's awesome. If you can't think of who Kyle was when you were in elementary school, you were Kyle. You guys, I was Kyle. Now that I realize what I put my teachers through for all those years, I now want to try and foster his energy and nurture his creativity, but holy shit, is this kid a little brat. Anyway, he's like the kind of kid that always has something, every book I read to them, he's already read. I was reading, it's like every time I read something, he's like, oh, Mr. Dennis, I've already read this book. I'm like, fine, that's great, Kyle. Now you know where all the good parts are, and stop trying to spoil the red wedding for everyone. Best part is some people, you can hear the trauma, the PTSD just came up from Game of Thrones. I'm like, oh. In my other class, I have a girl, Kyle. And I don't know what it is, maybe I'm just kind of slightly patriarchal. Hey, I'm an ally. Anyway, slightly patriarchal that there's something easier to deal with a girl, Kyle, when she has pigtails. I don't know what it is. But here's the problem though, she's 7, and I think around 7 is like when you kind of develop your first crush, right? I think I'm her first crush. Which is adorable, because any other word is weird. But here's the problem, like, she doesn't understand how names, like, I found out one of the kids ratted her out and like, Mr. Dennis, she writes your name in her notebook. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And I saw it. She doesn't know how maiden names work, so she just wrote her name as Mrs. Mr. Dennis. Now I have to read wedding registries next to them just so they figure out how maiden names work. Guys, my name's Deadair Dennis. Now you've been fantastic, wonderful all night. Stay fantastic, wonderful day, girls. Good night.
Deadair Dennis Miller, everybody. Give it up for Dennis.